The main panel is moved slightly back toward the strobe to contain the spill, as Kevin removes the two escalator plates. A P15 panel with opaque fabric is secured to the back side of the main panel with double clips to further contain any spill from the strobe. Mark then attaches a second P15 to act as a gobo for the camera lens. While viewing through the 4x5, Collins guides his assistants to setting a P22 panel with opaque fabric just outside the camera angle of view. This panel will gobo light from the floor in front of the subjects. The panel is then secured to a light stand with a Lightform EC1 clamp. A diagram shows the effect of the foreground gobo as it blocks light from illuminating the floor. An overall view reveals the setup for the second test shot. Having made the necessary adjustments, we can see in the second check print that the ceiling is now uniform in illumination. The escalator plates have been removed, and the floor in front of the stand-ins is now darker, while the subject area remains correctly exposed.
Since we were able to calm down the foreground to where it was dark and we could cast shadows in front of it, in this case it was this amber glow that was casting forward, showing their silhouettes up, which gave us a dark lean line back into the primary subject, which was really the chairman of the board. The president was second in command, so we wanted the power to come directly from behind the chairman of the board. So the strobe was placed behind him, amber gel about shoulder height, firing right at us. The biggest problem is figuring out the brightness of this glow. That can't be done with an incident meter reading because it tells you how bright it was going to be on the opposite side of his body. So taking a reflective meter, a 5-degree spot on an Alta 3, and taking a reflective reading right off of the carpet at the exact same angle the lens was going to see it would tell us its relative value relative to 18%. Whatever the brightness was, we wanted it to be about a 4-to-1 amber, which is a very light amber. We're shooting at f11, so we wanted that carpet to read a reflective f22. Which says if you shot at 22, it'd be 18%, but if you shot at f11, it'd be 4 times brighter than 18%.
Collins then directs the positioning of the strobe to produce the proper origin of light source while hiding it behind the subject.
Keep going. Okay, good. Bring it. Okay, yeah, right there. Bring it on up now. About 3, 4, 5, 4 feet. 8.5. Pump it on up to 9.
A reflective reading is taken from the foreground carpet with a 5-degree spot attachment on the meter, giving Collins an exposure value relative to his incident reading.
Okay, that'll give me a 3-to-1 right there, amber. That'll lose a lot of the texture detail, get a lot of power, give a nice separation on the line. So let's take a Polaroid and see where we're at.
A camera point of view shows our stand-ins at the time of the third test exposure. The effects of isolating the amber separation strobe are shown in the third check print. Note that Collins has set the strobe to originate from the position of the chairman of the board. Providing separation for both men, the amber backlight also produces strong shadow patterns in the foreground and evenly illuminates the foreground ceiling with a warm glow. The reflective reading of the amber carpet read f22.5, which is 3 times brighter than the subject incident reading of f16.
We brought in as much strobe power as we could into this shot simply to control the entire environment. We were illuminating large areas, almost an architectural shot along with a portrait. So taking the initiative of working with our own color gels, ambering the backlight, and then illuminating the rotunda area with the strobe firing up to get that architectural form, we forced attention and controlled it. The only ambi we had to deal with was really a little bit of the mercury vapors, the vapor lights, which were actually taking, the reason they're bright is because we're taking a picture of them while they're lit. They weren't really going to affect any tones. We weren't going to be color contaminated. Their own color is going to be contaminated within the sockets. And then the shutter speed, the camera was going to control the brightness of the sky, how rich and blue. Do we want a real dark blue caused by a fast shutter speed, or do we want a kind of a pale blue controlled by a slow shutter speed? One thing you have to be careful, though, is we were using a lot of watt seconds. A lot of watt seconds means long flash duration. Long flash duration means you can't be too fast with your shutter because you cut out the true peak of your entire color band of your strobe.
The final step in the evolution of this photograph is the addition of a third strobe head to light the ceiling of the rotunda. The strobe with reflector is pointed straight up for maximum coverage.
Yeah, that'll be fine. I'm just going to take a reflective reading off of that wall here to get it up to about a 6-to-1, so we still have
Unable to take an incident reading of the ceiling, Collins takes reflective readings with a 5-degree spot attachment to check for even exposure values across the high ceiling.
16.6. Do it again. Okay, you're gonna have to keep it up to those wrinkles.
An overall view of the setup allows us to see the placement of each of the 3 strobes and the relationship to the subjects and the camera as Collins makes the exposure for the 4th and final test shot.
Okay, film's in there, Kevin. We're at 15. Okay, you guys. Okay, just raise that foot up just a little bit. Raise the foot right there. Step with a little bit of a smile. Come on. Good.
Our final check print isolates the effect of the 3rd strobe on the ceiling, giving form and definition to the area, while also providing additional separation to the dark suits of our subjects. The reflective reading of f32.5 on the ceiling is 6 times brighter than the subject incident reading of f16. A cross-section diagram provides a different view of the rotunda, as the main diffusion panel, the directional separation strobe, and the rotunda background strobe are added to complete the setup at the time of final exposure.
My only disappointment with this shot is we didn't get an interaction between myself and the president on film. There is a way you work with these people, especially at their position, their para aspect, but the client themselves didn't want any video cameras around to record the situation. They wanted the people in and out, and away we go. They didn't want any mistakes, which is one reason we packed so much extra gear, making sure that we had extra support, power pack, strobe heads, even a secondary camera on premise that if there was any failure, we got the shot. One thing you have to realize with this stuff is that these people are in printing dates. I mean, they have a scheduled printing time for these annual reports to come off press, and if we miss the shot here today because we didn't have a strobe head or exactly what they needed, and they knew exactly what they needed, they gave us an exact rendering with all details in it, so there wasn't any second guessing the shot. We knew exactly what we had to do. But if we would have fouled the shot up today because we didn't have the gear on hand, because of a strobe failure or a camera failure, it may be months before these people have opportunity to get in front of these cameras again because of their busy schedule, and you can't have that. This is a guaranteed situation for them. You have to pull it off on the right schedule.
The shoot was a great success, as Collins met all of the necessary deadlines to create a powerful corporate image for PSA's annual report. An understanding of proper metering techniques, along with detailed scouting and preparation, can turn potentially complex location shoots into an enjoyable climb up the corporate ladder.